on a longer journey through my life, but ultimately, I hope to become a wizard one day.
Do you have hat and the necessary equipment?
No, with the cloak.
Cape,
No, with
yeah.
the long sleeves and that. No, no. Got the staff though.
You get
It's
a
start.
staff,
It's a start. Yeah, you've got to start somewhere. All wizards start off small.
So what else do you have?
I've got lots of things. I'm a collector of things. I hoard things.
You're a hoarder. Yeah. There's another wood there.
Oh yeah, that's new. That's one of the. Do you remember the cherry trees outside?
Yeah.
In the courtyard. That's one of them died. So Phil, the cleaner, chopped it down, and he wanted the top piece to make a walking stick.
Yeah.
And I said, well, I'll have the rest of it because it's cherry wood, and it's. I'd sort of heard that you use cherry wood for certain musical instruments, for making instruments.
Okay.
I wasn't exactly sure, but I was just like, oh, I'll have it. So, another thing to have in my room, you know, and one day I'll do something with it, maybe, you know. I was talking to Dominic last night about it, and he said, oh yeah, cherry wood. They make wooden Irish flutes out of cherry wood sometimes. So maybe, did I make a flute or something? Or, I don't know, one day I'll give it to somebody who makes flutes. Ideally, I've never made a flute, so, you know, I don't know. Give it to somebody, say, make me a flute out of this cherry wood or something, or...
It's quite sentimental, I suppose. It comes from the...
It's from Cads, yeah. Yeah, it's been here a few years, almost as long as I have. It's just another thing to collect. I'll do something with that one day. Yeah. I know I never will, really, but yeah.
Do you collect a lot? You look like you have everything in the world in your room.
I do, yes.
It's got like a room to play with things.
Okay, yeah. Some people really love it in here. Like, whenever anybody new comes in, I go, excuse the mess, I'm a rate scrubber, sorry. And everyone goes, well, it's great in here. There's lots to look at, and they get on the shelves and like start picking up, and then, you know, and they don't mind people having a look round and what's this, and, you know, random books and stuff, and just bits of things and instruments, lots of musical instruments, obviously.
Why do you collect? Why do you hoard? Why do you hoard? You hoarder.
I think I get it from my dad. He was a hoarder.
What was he hoarding?
Just anything. Just stuff that might be useful one day.
Oh.
That's unique, maybe, as well. Things that's like, oh, I haven't got one of those.
Yeah.
I have no need for it now, but one day, well, I might be able to do something with that. Or, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, very thoughtful.
I reckon it's maybe from growing up without much money as a kid.
Yeah.
So kind of being used to seeing something that somebody else has thrown away and thinking, oh, I could use that. That's going to go to the tip and get thrown away. Just like, oh, why are you throwing that away? Oh, somebody might need one of these one day. So often, like round here, people come knocking on my door, especially for event nights, and say, Colman, have you got? And I'll go, yeah, and then spend like... I'm pretty good. I know where everything is in here, pretty much. And if I've got it, I'll be like, yeah, and I'll sort of sit for 30 seconds and go, yeah, it's up there on that shelf. And then, you know, and it might be like a piece of metal, like L-shaped metal with holes in it. Then they can put a light on something and screw it to something. Have you got an L-shaped bracket with holes in? Oh yeah, I've got one. Just random bits.
You are the man.
Have you got? I don't know.
Whatever.
Have you got a spare violin bow? Have you got any spare sunglasses? Have you got any bulldog clips or something? Yeah, I've got a selection. What size do you need? And when I moved in here, the reason I started living here was I had I'm not recording, am I? You bastard. Oh, you've come to the right place. I could talk for hours.
I can listen
especially
for hours.
About myself. I'm really interested in myself and telling people about that's a joke, isn't it? But I'll continue anyway, unless I'm interrupting you. But I thought when I first moved here, I'd now I know I am going to be editing what I say.
Yes, I know. The best thing is just.
I was in a certain situation where I was suddenly homeless. I was doing a bit of work here, just like casual work here, when they very first started the building.
Like, I kind of
Just
remember
fixing
those
things,
days.
doors and stuff, and doing bits of things, and because I'm just generally a bit handy. I had loads of tools and stuff, so I can just good at fixing things, whatever, just building things and stuff. And then I suddenly became homeless through my own fault, if I'm honest. So I took on this studio, and when I first got this room, it was full, like almost to the ceiling, of wood and doors and things, just totally packed with junk. It was like a storeroom, and I used to sleep under there because it was the only space where there was
In the
you
cupboard.
could get to the floor. Yeah, it's like under the stairs.
Under the stairs.
Yeah, just like a couple of cushions from the sofas outside on the floor, a couple of blankets and that. Sort of slept in there for a couple of weeks, and I was like, "Can I have this room? I'll pay you rent for it." And I told Steve, I was like, "Yeah, I've been kicked out of my flat, and I split up with my girlfriend as well, who I was kind of living with a bit as well." But all that just ended, and I had no flat, and my landlord at the time stole all my possessions and threw them in a skip. All my musical instruments, everything, apart from one of my guitars, which is in that case, but I've got a really old Fender, and I think I had my violin, didn't have a violin or anything, so I moved into this room with the clothes I had on, my work clothes, and that guitar. I was like, right, okay, start again.
Yeah.
No material possessions, and I was already a hoarder, and I had loads of things, and I was like, and then it felt like a really big relief to just like, it's gone, it's just gone, there's nothing you can do about it, everything you owned is gone, apart from the clothes that I was wearing and one guitar, and that was really refreshing. It's a really good, challenging point in my life, but it was really interesting because it was like, you just start with no material possessions. 5 years later, I'm surrounded by junk. I can't fucking move for my own junk in this room because I own nothing. I ain't got one of them. That'll be useful one day. And
yeah, I've been through similar situations, I guess. When I split up from Pete, my ex-husband.
You were married, that's right.
I was married. We were a bit naughty in the house.
Right.
And we got caught.
Okay.
And we got kicked out.
Okay.
They throw our stuff with the bags outside.
Right.
It's like, okay. And we stayed with some friends. We had some stuff, and I thought this relationship that time it was challenging, and I decided that I'm gonna get out of it, whatever it costs.
Okay.
So I left him.
Right.
And so it must have been really horrible for him, but I left it with a bag, with a suitcase, and then rebuilt my life, and I ended up collecting things because I had nothing.
Right.
But going charity shops, going skips.
Charity shops, skips, yeah.
I might. Okay. I'm gonna have a house one day, and I'm gonna need a table. Stand, and then just in my room is everything under the things are full of stuff.
Exactly.
And then 2 years later, I was still like, maybe I don't need this door handle.
It's a beautiful door handle, but
maybe not now.
I haven't got a door yet.
Where would I have a door to put this door handle and just
door,
I moved into the flat now I'm living in. That time I had the person who was living in the flat was a magician band. Maybe you know him.
Ben.
Yeah.
Benoit, the French
Benoit.
guy. Yeah. Oh, he's a great musician.
He's very
great
good.
Magician. Sorry, I nearly said musician.
Talented and funny and.
Yeah, he's a lovely fella, isn't he? Yeah.
Yeah. So he left, and he left his everything, and my everything came in, and I hold on to things.
Yeah.
I might need 3 chest of drawers, and then two large tables.
Two tables, yeah.
Two
Yeah,
very
not
large
just one.
tables. Yes, one
Yeah.
is nice. Just
It
might
was-
need to, one is for eating, one is for
Yeah,
studying.
one's for piling things on
Well,
that you collect.
So, and the clothes, oh my God. So, yeah,
Oh, yeah, clothes especially that you never wear.
I never wear.
Especially the good ones. It's like, oh, I'll save that for best.
For you. And with very
And
good
yeah,
occasions,
and the
one day I will wear
But
that.
rarely the occasion comes to wear that certain thing. It's like, oh, no.
It's a very good
That's
one.
far too showy for tonight's event. No.
So in March, I decide I've gone mad. Like,
This March.
yeah,
Right.
I piled everything outside, nearly everything. It is enormous amount of stuff, and I gave things away. I think possibly for 20 days with a non-stop, I gave things away, and I end up with literally nothing. Couple clothes, just couple of,
Even clothes.
and I felt great.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah.
Just the basics. Like,
Liberating, isn't it? It just,
oh my
it's
God.
It's like the wind blows right through you again.
It's like I was just holding this book. My mom, I'm talking too much, aren't I?
No,
My mom gave it to me when I
don't
was...
worry. When I
Okay. When I was 18, it's about 20 years ago. It's a cookbook. My mom gave it to me when I went to university, when I started university.
Okay.
With the intention that I was going to get married and I was going to cook all this Turkish food to my husband and to my children,
Yeah.
and then have this Turkish family. 20 years later, the cookbook still looks like a prestige.
Never been.
And I'm still carrying it everywhere I've been to, like so many different cities. I think that was the hardest thing I gave away.
Never been near a kitchen in its life.
Holding the book in my hand, like it's all this my mom's desires and hopes and things in it. So it's not just a thing.
Okay, yeah. I understand.
So it took me hours to put it into skip. And in the middle of the night, I was just
Oh,
about...
you didn't? Yeah.
I did. In the middle of the night, I was just about to go and get the book. I didn't get the
Tonight?
book. No,
Tonight?
in March.
Oh, March. Oh, so it's gone?
It's gone.
Ooh.
Ooh.
Oh, your mum, though.
I know, but I'm thinking...
Sorry, I'm at a distance.
No, I know. I still
Didn't tell
think...
your mum, did you?
I didn't.
Of course you didn't. So when you next see us, oh, what about that book? Where's that book? I go, oh, it's around somewhere. Yeah.
It's still sometimes I'm like, oh, the book. Like this, that was the hardest.
I'm like that.
But
Sorry.
yeah, go for it.
When I lost all my stuff, and there was so many things, and I'm quite sentimental about possessions. You know, things contain memories, and so the feel of something, the look of something. You just look at something on a table, you open a box and see something, you get a flood of memories attached to that thing, which is sometimes good and sometimes not good. Do you know what I mean? I suppose that depends on your present state of mind. I suppose how you react to those memories. So the memories aren't intrinsically good or bad in themselves. Do you know what I mean?
You frame it.
It's how at the time and how you feel at the time. And if you're feeling quite good and positive, you could cope with a bit of a nostalgic memory of even if it's something that wasn't very pleasant, maybe at a certain time in your life. But it's still a link to a part of your life, isn't it? And it triggers your memory. And I like that thing about objects.
Now I don't have it. I talk about it more.
Yeah. You think about it.
I think about it.
When you owned it.
I never thought about it.
Until you move house and you're carrying it, you're like, what the fuck am I carrying this? I haven't opened this box since I moved it the last time. You're like, why not throw it away? I can't.
It's almost like with letting it go and giving away.
Yeah.
It engraved it in me. Now it lives with me. I remember the cover.
Okay.
I remember it so well.
More than when
I owned it.
That's really interesting. Yeah.
There are a couple of things like that. I put so much thought and attention to that object and why I have it. all these details, why I have it, why the person gave it to me, why do
Yeah.
I own it, and what will happen if I don't have it as an object.
Yeah.
And I don't normally put that much of a thought or attention into any other thing, so
Yeah.
it stays with me now forever as an image in my mind.
Wow.
It's like,
Yeah. I completely understand that. Yeah. Even to when I lost all my stuff under my bed, not read for maybe 2.5 years, maybe 500 books that I'd collected while I was at university. I spent most of my money from university because I did a photography degree, fine art photography. So I had loads of books of photographs, like monographs, and some like really fucking expensive ones, like 60, 100 quid books, great big things of, that I adored, and I kept them in pristine condition, and occasionally look at them, but when I lost them all, I'd not looked at them for ages, but I remember all those books. I remember almost all the photographs in them, especially my favourite books.
Yeah.
And I think about them now more that haven't got the book, because I wouldn't look at the book. I might have, if I owned the book now since I lived here, I wouldn't have looked at it for 5 years. But now I understand what you were just saying is that I can picture those photographs that I really loved in those books, my favourite ones, but the photograph's still there inside my head.
Yeah.
And it's almost like I've never thought of this way until you said that, but I don't actually need the book because they're imprinted. My favourite photographs, the favourite parts of these books are just imprinted in my head.
And sometimes by just giving it away or passing it on to something else or getting it out of your life as an object makes it more vivid and real in your life, in your mind.
Yeah, right. I've never thought of that. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah.
Otherwise, I'm just thinking otherwise, I always have the book around me, so I don't need to put it in my mind.
That's right. Yeah. Right. Yeah. Wow, that's really interesting. Yeah.
That's what I learned.
That's the positive spin on losing everything. I lost all this stuff.
So you can gain them. That's the thing. So you can gain a very different aspect of
thought. That's a beautiful thought. I like that.
So yeah, my hoarder friend.
If there's anything you're short of, I've probably got at least one of it in this room.
Do you have a blanket?
I've got 3.
Okay.
I've got a really nice one from Scandinavian Airways. Yeah. Nice, like wool one. Where is it?
Wrap it around my
I'll grab it.
legs.
Maybe is it under that one, the Scandinavian one? I'll find it here. One sec.
There.
Oh, are you actually for a functional purpose?
Yeah, just now.
Because you're cold.
Yeah. I think my leggings are quite.
I don't remember where I got this from, but I thought
Wow.
Scandinavian Airways or something. Yeah.
Oh, this is beautiful,
It's
isn't
quite
it?
thick, yeah. And so I imagine that was something they gave you on the plane.
Yeah.
I've only ever flown, well, technically twice, there and back. But then on a plane, you wouldn't really think you'd need a blanket. It's like the windows are generally closed.
Do you still play?
What DJing?
DJing.
No, I gave it up for years. I was just into playing guitar and violin, and then a probably more commonly called a midlife crisis, but it was just met a few kids that I knew from STI, Ben Dory and Terry and Dave and that from Sheffield Techno Institute. Sort of became friends with them, and they got to know my record collection and played a couple of times with them in their room upstairs. And come and play a gig with us. They really liked our stuff, so I played a bit for a couple of years with them, the odd gig and that, and it was fun. It was like a last swing of the bat as a middle-aged man.
How old are you?
45.
You don't look 45. So.
It's the preservative effect of alcohol. I'm pickled from the inside out.
I mean, the age is funny. I'm 38.
Really?
Yeah.
You're not?
I am. And I have
Fucking
no
hell,
idea,
really?
like, how, when I become 38, if that's a thing.
Yeah, I know what you mean, yeah. Probably last year sometime.
Last year, just in the last couple of weeks. Oh, how did it happen? Just suddenly.
Again? Another birthday? Jesus. Oh, mate, you're doing really. You don't look. And I'd have never guessed you were 38. I'd never thought about how old you are, but if I was.
Yeah.
You think I'd have said late 20, at the most 30.
You're joking.
At the most, very most 30, but probably like 28, 27, something like that.
No, it would be a hot, heavy.
But you haven't got like the wrinkles around your eyes.
No,
you know
not.
that's a good sign of age, isn't it? The sort of the thinner lines. But, I mean, I haven't got my glasses on. But,
No, I don't. No, I don't have the wrinkles yet. But my face is changing. Okay, in my late 20s, it was more round. Yeah, my expression is changing.
Yeah.
I know. Like when I look at the mirror.
Okay.
I'm quite happy with it. So I kind of like. I like it. I like how
Your expression changing. That's interesting. Yeah. I suppose as you develop as a person and you refine your sense of humour and your social skills and how you carry your face when you're talking to people or interacting with people, that does change over time, doesn't it? It's like. Oh, I'm just going to talk to my brother briefly. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Sorry, that was a bit rude. Sorry. I speak to him every night. Like,
It wasn't rude at all.
Just try and just keep tabs on him and that. Like.
Where is he?
He lives in Maltby, where I was born. It's about 15 miles away. Like. So
He likes being there, right?
He likes being there.
Yeah.
No, he hates Maltby. He used to live with my dad. My dad died in February, and he used to live with him. He's got schizophrenia, my brother.
Okay.
And my dad, he was like 81, sort of, when he died. So he was getting quite rickety, and just having the pair of them having each other. It was like a mutual caring sort of relationship, but both company for each other as well. So so he's a bit out on a limb now. My dad's died, and he's had to move out of the house because my sister insisted on selling the house, and it all got really complicated, and
He can do.
Basically, my sister just kicked him out.
No way.
Because she wants the money from the sale of the house. My dad put something in the will to sort of
leave it.
Yeah, so he can live there as long as he wants, and we can't sell the house without his written permission. And then stupidly there was a clause in about as long as he maintains the house and he can afford to pay the bills. So she did his budget for him. They said, oh look, you can't actually afford to live here. And I tried to get involved, but he's quite vulnerable because of his illness. He's not he's not sort of person who'll stand up for himself. So, and he knows I am, but he knows I'll probably take it a bit not too far, but he knows what I'm like, and I'm quite feisty, especially when it comes to him and being protective of him. And he didn't want any trouble because he was getting bullied by my sister, going round shouting at him every few days and just being a cunt to him. And I was under strict orders from him, don't get involved, you'll make it worse. And nothing I said to him, he just wouldn't let me get involved, like, so he wouldn't let me help him out, like. I just sorted her out and told her to fuck off. I don't want to go into too much detail.
Are you three of you gonna get part from these?
Yeah, well, there's 6 of us.
6 of
you? Yeah. So it's not even going to be that much, but it's like, in my head, it's like, my dad put it in the will expressly to protect Finbar because he's vulnerable of all of us. They're all old, we're the youngest too, and they're all married and kids, and they've got their own houses and stuff. Obviously, they could do with a few quid, everybody could, but my dad's wish was to look after and protect Finbar, and she'd just gone completely against that.
The reason that I asked that the rest of you could get together and buy a small place for him.
No,
once the money is split up.
I mean, I'd be up for that.
Yeah.
But mine and his share wouldn't buy him anything. It's not a big house or anything.
Yeah.
It's in Maltby. It's a shithole. Yeah. Nobody deliberately chooses to live there.
Okay.
So there's not much money in the house, and definitely not enough to buy him anyway.
So how long have you been playing
So I started when I was quite late, actually. When I think I was 21, 20, 21, something like that, when I bought my first violin, yeah. I'd not long moved out of home from my dad's. I'd been, like, I think I left when I was 18. I forget now, it's not long ago. I think it was 18, maybe just about to turn 19, I moved out. And then got into Irish music I'd always grown up listening to it. Because it's my dad's influence. He loves it, and he's involved in.
Is your dad Irish?
No,
your
his mum. Yeah, his mum was from Derry in Northern Ireland. She moved to Liverpool where my dad was born, but he's always had a strong Irish connection.
Yeah.
It's always been sort of part of his life. He's sort of clung to his Irish connection, his roots, and that. Yeah, so he got me into the music when I was a kid. Taught me tin whistle, the Irish whistle.
Oh, that's Irish whistle, okay.
Yeah, tin whistle sort of thing, and I played that when I was like 6, and the bar on, the drum.
Yeah.
From when I was about 6, but then sort of for about a year or two I played that, and then just, got into jumping off things and swingings and football and stuff, and sort of gave up on that for years, and I think it was about 2 weeks after I moved out of my dad's house. After not listening or being interested in Irish music, I straight away realised there was something missing, because it was always on in my dad's house. So when I went to see my dad for the first time after moving out, give a couple of tapes, let me lend a couple of cassettes from the thing, and he was like, oh, he was surprised. He was like, all right, yeah. Sort of borrowed a couple of tapes. Yeah, and then it just started from there, and then quickly bought a violin and just started learning. Taught myself, like, didn't have any lessons or anything. Just sort of listening to the tapes and going, how'd you do that on this weird thing with a bow?
Oh my god. Because there wasn't any YouTube or anything like that at that time, no internet.
No,
you have to listen to the cassette player.
Listen to 3 notes. Da-da-da. Rewind it, da-da-da, rewind
Find
it, and then go, yeah, that's good enough, next. And that went on for about 15, 18, 20 years or something, and,
There's
about
a
that level.
with
Yeah. In my head, it's the power of self-delusion, I think. It's just like, oh, great, have you heard me on the fiddle? Fucking flying here. It's like neighbours ringing the RSPCA like, he's killing cats next door. Those poor cats.
Yeah. You're good though. You're not killing cats anymore.
No. I'm just quicker at killing them. 20 years practice.
So you've been always playing the Irish folk,
original
Irish.
Yeah,
folk.
and that was years ago, and I've always played a bit, but I've been not been 100% committed for about nearly 25 years or something, I suppose. Yeah. So.
Was mine last year or the year before?
On and off, but the last 6 years I've been totally committed to it. I just decided, you've been doing this for 20 years, you're still shit. Right, right, do you actually want to be good? So I was like, yeah, I do, I want to be good. So I'm going to put the hours in, and all that started when I moved in here with no possessions. The first thing I did, the very first thing I bought when I moved in here was a violin for 35 quid from Cash Converters. Horrible violin it was. But to me, it sounded great. It's like, oh, that'll do. So yeah, and just knuckled down and dug in.
Never.
So I'm getting there. I'm better than I was 6 years ago. I won't say I was good yet, but there's always somebody better, isn't there?
There's always somebody better. Yeah. I enjoy listening to you.
There's always another tune to learn. It's like, because there's thousands of Irish tunes. You don't have to write anything. There's no in Irish traditional music. As a musician, there's no onus on you to be a composer, because it's a canon of tunes, of thousands of tunes that are just passed down through families and generations and
I see.
friends and sessions, you know, in the pubs and stuff. You'd sort of swap tunes and learn stuff off other people, and it just gets passed on that way. There's no onus on you to write anything. You just learn all the tunes, and I suppose the creative side, if you're not a composer, and people do obviously compose new tunes, if that's their thing, but the creative side comes in putting the tunes together into sets, I suppose. So when you go from one tune into the next, ideally, it's kind of got to have maybe a key change or something where you go, ooh, you know, from one tune into another you get a key change and it's a nice one. And it's like, oh yeah, and I suppose that's where the creative side comes in, is putting tunes together into sets, I suppose.
Playing it is creative, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, you're not creating anything, I suppose. A racket, obviously. I'd be creating a lot of noise, but yeah. How's the cider? Judging by your face, it's not the best cider you've ever tried.
It's not the best cider I have, but it's okay.
So, do you play any music?
No.
Nothing?
I did I did guitar. I played guitar.
Right.
When I was at the high school and a couple of years at university, just to myself. Like, I was writing songs and singing to myself, and I thought they were the best songs ever written in the universe.
Power of self-delusion.
My voice was so amazing. Like, I could have been.
I often think that about my voice. Until I sing in public.
And then I was seeing the faces around us. We're not hearing the same voice now. We're not in the same room.
What's wrong with you? Jesus, it's a tough crowd.
Yeah, I was in a band as well. So it was fun.
Cool.
Yeah, I was singing in the band.
Right.
Yeah, the guitarist was my boyfriend though.
Yeah.
So they needed a vocal. And I jumped in.
Right.
I have a brilliant voice. I think I can sing.
I'm sure you've got a beautiful voice.
It was fun, yeah.
It's hard though, isn't it, singing? I've recently started singing again a bit. Like, I bought a new guitar recently, and I played guitar since before I played fiddle. I played guitar, but on and off, and it's I sort of dip in and out of it, like. But.
So what do you do now?
What do you mean?
What do you do? What's your job? Are you still an electrician?
No.
It's long past that electrician times. You were a great electrician. I remember you in warehouses. Colman is going to come and finish his electric job. So 2 months later, Colman is going to come and finish his first Colman. That's how I met you, isn't it?
That's right, yeah. My heart wasn't in it. Clearly.
Colman was passing with a cup of tea in the afternoon, coming in and saw it was a hard night, possibly.
Begrudgingly dragged himself away from the violin for a couple of hours.
Oh, was that about that? Was that, yeah.
Somebody, yeah.
So you're not an electrician anymore?
No.
What are you?
Not really anything. I do like odd bits of work with Dom. He's got a removal thing, does removal things. So I help him with that when he needs 2 men.
So you play fiddle mostly?
Yeah. When anyone says, what do you do? If that was like in what do you spend the most amount of time doing, it's playing the violin, definitely.
Do you busk as well?
Yeah, not so much now. I've been working a bit over the summer.
Yeah.
There's more work in the summer, but over the winter it gets a bit thin, so I do a bit more busking to survive. That's good because it's good practice. Yeah, I am just fully committed to violin.
You are fully committed to violin.
Obsessed is probably the right word.
You're obsessed.
Yeah, I'm an obsessive person by nature. Like if when I decide I want to do that, and I want to do that, and I want to be good at it, and I'm quite single-minded, and I'm good at focusing on one thing to the detriment of the rest of my life. So like, money. I care less about money than I do about being able to play the violin all day. So and just, playing music. Who won? It's great. I like the chase of it, the striving to get better and better, and when you get those little increments and you hear it, you learn a tune at the beginning of a week and you're rubbish at it, especially if it's a difficult tune. I'll never get this, and some tunes are easy and you get them within 10 minutes, so roughly you get the bare bones in 10 minutes, and then you polish it over a few hours and it's a simple tune, so it doesn't take that much work. Some tunes are really hard and you work on them for endlessly. Some tunes are not even that they're difficult, but you're just trying to perfect them and do something different with it and make it your own style. Everyone plays in a different style, even though you're playing the same melodies and the same tunes, but everyone plays those tunes slightly differently in a different style. The phrasing is slightly different, and that's unique to everybody. So you constantly there's always, you can always make something better. You're never good enough, in my opinion. You could always improve on something. So some tunes some tunes I've been playing, say maybe 25 years, that I learned right at the beginning of learning the violin. And still working on those tunes. Some of them just like I can play them in a certain way, comfortably and reasonably well, but always in the back of my mind is, what can I do? How can we get this better? Come on, surely you can get this a bit better, a bit more flow, a bit more swing, a bit more something, a bit sweeter. So strive to make something sound beautiful.
Is it because you're changing, your taste's changing, so what you expect
Possibly,
from the tunes changing as well?
Yeah, or your own expectations of your own ability as well. So when you're learning your very first, and you're just rubbish on the violin, your expectations are low because you're rubbish. So it's just like, so anything slightly better, it's like big victory. But then obviously,
I nailed it down this time.
What about me? Check me out. Right. Oh, nobody heard that today. Neighbours banging on the wall. Shut up, fucking! Leave that cat alone. It feels like a constant thing. It just can always be a bit better. And then obviously you meet other musicians, which is new to me. I've only just started going back and playing in sessions with other people. I've for 20 years I played on my own, just sort of embarrassed of how shit I was, but still loved doing it. But knew that it wasn't fair to inflict it on the wider public. It's like, I'll go and play in public when I feel like I'm any good. But
But then you're saying you never feel like
I
you're
never
good.
I never got to that point. It was like, I'm gonna die before that happens, so I may as well go and play in public anyway. I'm 45 now, so my sense of shame is like a lot less than it was when I was a younger man. What do I care? I'll be dead in about 20, 30 years, so who cares? So, as long as I'm having fun.
I know it comes to that. Yeah, it comes to that point.
I'm joking a bit, but yeah.
No, that's true. That's how I'm operating now.
Yeah.
I'm having fun.
I find that more so, especially now with singing, because I've only recently started doing that again. I sort of stopped playing the violin for a bit, about 10 years ago. Yeah, about 10 years ago. Stopped playing the violin. I'd play it 2 or 3 times a week for half an hour or something. But I'd play guitar just solidly all week. I was learning, the slide guitar and loads of old blues stuff, which I really loved when I was younger, and decided just to knuckle down to that for a few years and concentrate on that. And I plateaued on the violin. It was something I just couldn't get any better for 2 or 3 years. It was just, and that was apparent. So I thought I'll just leave it alone for a bit, and which is often a good thing. I've noticed that with the violin. I've had breaks, a few weeks or a few months or a year or 3 or 4 years. Occasionally pick it up, and then sort of come back to it with hopefully having forgotten some bad habits and having to relearn things, but with a different because you're older and you've learned different things from different forms of music. You know, even sort of, you know, playing techno and house
Well,
music.
you're
on,
all doing
on
it
decks
yourself.
and,
That's the thing, yourself.
it all informs every music you listen to informs all the other music that you play to a sort of greater or lesser extent. But even sort of playing techno and you know, learning to mix records and doing that thing is what I noticed was my timing's a lot better than it used to be. So I've got, you know, just that thing of mixing records and listening to beat matching records fine tunes your sense of timing and a beat. And obviously techno and house is made on computers, so the beat is it's strict. It's not a human person, it's a computer, so the beat is correct, it is in time, and it's unequivocally in time. So that's helped my violin playing, I think. And that is a big important thing about traditional Irish music is playing in time, because it's originally music for dancing to, but still is. But it came from sort of people gathering in a house, you know, all from all like local villages, and you have everyone sort of goes to one house. You push the chairs back, and all the dancers get up, and you get your musicians around the edge, blast the music out. But you've got to play in time because there are people dancing.
Yeah.
So if you don't play in time,
Then
you end up with a pile of people on the floor tripping over it, and then you're running out the house with your fiddle, like, get him. Yeah.
Yeah, there's time to get out then. Get out and play with other people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's that I've only been doing it when I very first started. I used to go down to Fagan's 20 odd years ago, play with Pat Walker and Brian, and you know, obviously a few other people, Nick Farrelly, and sort of really good fiddle players, like amazing fiddle players, and flute players, you know, all sorts of good Irish musicians. I was way out of my league then, and they were, you know, they're friendly, and I, in the back of my head, it was like, nobody's been directly rude to me, but I know I'm kind of spoiling this. I'm just really rubbish, but it's part of it of bringing other people on that are a bit rubbish. So don't be rude to them, be encouraging.
Yeah.
But I kind of sort of thought, I'm going to back off, and I'll come back when I'm a bit better. I'll come back in a couple of years when I'm. But that took about 20 years to get any better. So I've started going back and doing it in the last couple of years because of my friend Dominic, you know, Dom who I play with. So he sort of encouraged me to go out and start playing in sessions again.
Yeah, lovely.
I think the thing I remember him saying was, there are much worse fiddle players than you that go and play sessions. Yeah. I was like, really? He was like, yeah, you're not going to be the best, but there are people worse than you. And I was like, okay, I can work with that. You know, it's a starting point. So. But it has helped going and playing with other musicians.
Yeah.
Definitely more so. Like, I think probably learned more in the last 2 years than I have probably in the 10 years before that.
Yeah.
About playing and you know, playing as a group, obviously, playing with other people.
I suppose you see what they do. It's like
constantly learning from people. Yeah, and then also learning to be patient with people that aren't as good as you, and you know, not be a bastard, and you know.
Yeah.
And to sort of encourage other people and learn that as a skill as well, as a life skill. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not just the music, I think, is it as well? Music's like it's a social endeavour, isn't it? It's the thing about. I mean, obviously, you get like a sort of player, a musician, and an audience or a listener, even if that's just two people. But there's that interaction with people, but there's also the interaction with other musicians, and so it's a social thing, isn't it?
I think that's very important.
Yeah, definitely, and I missed that for years.
It's very important. Yeah.
I did because I think I'm a bit of a perfectionist, so I hate to be rubbish, but then I had to learn that it's okay to be a bit rubbish, you know, as long as you try your best.
Yeah.
And people hear that when you play. Even I hear it in people, you know, when they're just learning. But you can hear when somebody's really trying and they really want it to sound great, and it might not always sound great, but you can hear that that's what they want in their playing. And I'm not sure if that's strictly right, but you can hear the love and the passion, even though they're not brilliant. But that makes up for it not being brilliant. It's like that is good, because even though it's not technically good, or the best thing. It might be a bit out of time or a bit out of tune or a few wrong notes and stuff and a bit of poor technique. But if you could hear that, you can't. I believe you can hear that passion. However good anybody is, you can hear the sort of that craving that they want. You can hear that they want to be good and they're trying the best, and that's as beautiful as them actually being brilliant. Sometimes, whether they're brilliant or not, so I like that. And I like to make a point of telling people when I can hear that in somebody, no matter how good they are, I'll say that was good, that was really good, because they're at the limit of their capability, and they're really, you can feel they're really trying, and that should be commended as well.
Definitely. I haven't done so many things just because I thought I wasn't good enough.
Yeah, same here. Yeah.
And I think that's rubbish.
Yeah.
It's the worst thing, and now I know it's the worst thing I could have done.
Yeah.
Just not doing them with other people.
Yeah.
Like, just doing everything in my own space, on my own, and then just feeling it's not good enough, it's not perfect, it's not well put, it's not well presented, it's just, I said, fuck it. Like,
yeah, and the thing
go
is,
on and play, and
eventually you learn it never will be. You'll never be satisfied because you can always be a bit better. So it's just like, well, when do you do that?
Yeah.
Just the day before you die. I've met so many lovely people the last few years, just through this, as I did, DJing and playing.
Yeah. That's different crowd.
Different crowd, but it's the same thing. It's just meeting people and that sort of sense of community, and all striving towards a common endeavour of, sort of making, a group of people playing a piece of music. And I love that about Irish music, because there are sort of, obviously there are thousands of tunes, but there's sort of standard ones, to a greater or lesser extent, but they're like a sort of a canon of standard work that everybody kind of, you're not expected to know everything, but like everyone knows a lot of the sort of standard tunes. So you could go across, not even just to another city or to another pub in the city, but like to another country around the world, because Irish music. Yeah, my friend Barbara, she was telling me about a great Irish music scene in Moscow, where she's from. She was a researcher at the university, and she said, there's massive love of Irish music in Moscow, and some really good sessions. And so I could go with my violin to Moscow, and I know that I would know all, a lot of the standard tunes that they play, and immediately be able to play with somebody I've never met from the other side of the planet, which I find amazing.
It is, yeah.
It's like beautiful. I love it. Like, endlessly fascinating. It's like diving into a barrel looking for something at the bottom of a barrel, but there's no bottom to the barrel. It's just unending. There's always another thing. You can always go deeper and look for more. And
so blood bubbling, Irish music.
That's a really good phrase for it. Lovely. I like that. Lovely. Yeah.
Because with this thing of like not being enough, what I've noticed, I isolated myself from people in my mind, because I thought I wasn't good enough doing things. I thought people didn't want to be around me.
Yeah.
So I isolated myself.
Yeah,
so
I completely understand that. Yeah.
So I wasn't talking, like, of course, I was just going out, maybe partying, but I wasn't really talking with people, because it's always like this thing. Why would they want to talk to me? That's me.
Right, yeah.
But once I start to get that off my head, out of my head, just like, now I really like company of people.
And it becomes easier, doesn't it? But that. Sorry, I'm interrupting.
No, you go for it.
But that I think I know what you mean. But that people pick up on that nervousness, and you become hard to talk to if you're nervous, and people kind of pick up on that, and and until you shake that nervousness off and that fear of sort of social interaction, you kind of, it's almost like you're putting a barrier up there, even though you're craving that. You're like, why would anyone want to talk to me? But that you project that outwardly even though you don't realise you're doing it. So people don't come and talk to you because they're like, oh, you kind of looks a bit nervous.
She's a bit weird.
Yeah, I'll leave him alone because he's like, you might just buckle fold up into a pile on the floor for you, and you just. I used to be really, really socially nervous. Well, what's the word? Anxious, socially anxious. Like exactly what you were just describing. So I could totally relate to that. And then through aging, you get a bit older, and you start giving less of a fuck about what people think about you. Not that I ever really did anyway, but obviously did. You know, I used to think I didn't, but then it was apparent that I did. But then you relax into your own skin, don't you?
Yeah.
And then you think there are bigger knobheads in the world than me. I'm all right. I'm not that bad, am I?
Yeah.
And it's nice now I know that, to spot somebody, usually younger people, because it's often a young thing, in it, teenagers or early 20s, you know, or through even to late 20s. I was quite sort of socially anxious.
I was I was just until a year ago.
Yeah, until I was into my 30s, right? Yeah, actually, no, I've known you for years.
Yeah,
you weren't like that.
So I
You have
cut
to
your
learn
word.
to circumvent that, don't you, through the process, and just go, I have to do it. I have no choice. I have to do it. That's the way I feel about it, anyway. I've got no choice. Like,
why don't you not have any other choice?
just I don't know. I don't know.
Did you burn all your bridges and left on the violin?
I burned all my guitars on a bridge somewhere. I piled everything else up. All my guitar, everything else apart from my violin, and set fire on the bridge. And set fire to the bridge. No, not like that. I don't know. It's always been a thing. Playing music for me, it's something I can't help but do, like to the detriment of the rest of my life. I've lost so many jobs, been sacked from so many jobs. I'm just late for work all the time. About to leave for work. No, just quick! Just, let's see if I can get that last bit of that tune I was trying to learn last night. I'll fucking get it. I've got 10 minutes. 40 minutes later, you've missed your bus to work. You know, well, I may as well have the rest of the day off and fucking get this tune right. Yeah, and then 3 or 4 weeks of that, it's like, yeah, you're not really cut out for this job, are you, Colman? Even once, I once sacked myself from a job, like, because this guy he was a really nice bloke. He was running his business. It was like some shit job making. It was like a seasonal thing making. It was called the Wooden Box Factory, and they made wooden boxes for gift packages for what they call it, the body shop. So that and he provided these thousands of boxes, and that's what we did, a sort of team of sort of young kids, just like early 20s or something. And I was just always late, and he never gave me any trouble for it. He'd mention it every now and again. Oh, it'd be great if you could turn up on time at least once a week, Colman. Oh, sorry, John. Yeah, sorry, John. But he was cool. He was a nice fella. And when I was there, I worked hard and make up the time and stuff. But and I had, I had no feeling that he wanted to get rid of me or sack me, but I felt I was being disrespectful to him because I was just getting worse and worse, and it was a period where I was really just found it difficult to tear myself away from the violin every morning. So I went in one morning and I went, I'm just going to have to sack myself, John, I'm sorry. And he was like, oh, come on, you're not that bad. I was like, yeah, but it's not right, is it? I'm never on time. And I says, it's getting worse, and I don't think it's going to get any better. I have to be honest with you. We laughed. He was just like, I've never had anybody come in and sack themselves. It's like, we both could see where this is going. You're going to have to sack me at some point, Can't just come in and do half a day every day. It's funny. And we left on good terms. He appreciated that I was honest about it. And we left on good terms. It was quite funny.
Yeah. Best thing you can do, mate. Yeah. Is it still recording, by the way? It's good to check it sometimes.
Well, it's not. I've just bared my soul. Oh, fucking hell. Right, hang on, rewind. I'm going to have to remember everything I've said for the last hour.
It's gone now.
Yeah, it's always going to be. I made it all up anyway. I'll just
I
tell you, I'll make another story up.
Yeah.
But in fact, that was just a practice run. This one's going to be like way more hilarious. And it was like, there'll be points where I'm jumping out of aeroplanes and saving the planet from catastrophe on a weekly basis.
On a regular basis, or a weekly basis.
When I'm not playing my violin. Right. Yeah, whoa. Just,
okay.
let me just finish this tune, then I'll sort the earthquake out.
But the thing is, you never trained. Like, you didn't go to a school. I kind of think that's great. Like, you didn't get a formal training.
For the violin? No,
Yeah.
I did have 2 lessons right at the beginning. One quite after about a year, I think, with a girl called Kath James, who I've sort of, met subsequently down at Fagan's and she plays on Wednesdays. Her and her fella Martin, and she's a brilliant fiddle player, really, really solid. I think she's classically trained originally. I'm not 100% sure about that, but she's her thing is traditional music. I don't think she plays much classical stuff, but she's brilliant, really, really solid. So I had one lesson with her once. I didn't have a lot of money. I didn't have a job at that time when I started, so I couldn't afford to continue the lessons. And I'll be honest, it was all of it at that time. It was all a bit formal, and it was like you're holding the bow completely wrong, and I was reluctant. I think at that time I was reluctant to learn because I probably thought I knew it all at that age.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it's interesting that some of the things she tried to teach me in that lesson 20 odd years ago, I've in the last 5 years come up against and gone, oh, that's what she meant all those years ago. Yeah, she was right. Yeah, I should actually hold the bow a bit more like that. And I should actually sort my shoulders out and get my posture right. That's why my neck hurts all the time and my back hurts all the time. She was right. Why didn't I listen? And then I had another one with a guy called Nick Farrelly, amazing traditional Irish musician, fiddle player. My dad is a photographer, and he did some work on some old family photographs. This is like in the early 90s, before Photoshop and stuff. So he'd do like hand retouching of old. He'd like rephotograph something, and then the creases in a photo and stuff. He'd do that, but with inks and stuff on the print and hand done. Like, he was really good at it. So he did this for this guy Nick, and then when Nick said, "So right, what do you want for the work?" He said, "Give our Colman a violin lesson," which honestly, it really touched me. And I was like, "Oh, go on, Dad, nice one." It was beautiful, like, and I had this one lesson with him, and again, I couldn't afford to keep going back, but that one lesson, particularly that lesson, was the best thing I ever had. It was almost like it sort of lasted me. Some of the things he taught me in that lesson have still lasted me till now. I'm still learning from the things he said. And it was like I played a tune, and he said, "Let's see how you are. Play something." So I played, trying my best. It was awful, and it was like nice, but it was like, yeah, I could see you enjoy it. I could see you love it. He said, "But you're not brilliant." I was like, "Yeah, I know I'm rubbish." It was like, but he said, "But the main bit is that you love it." He said, "So what I'll say to you," so we sort of worked on this tune for a bit, and he tried to show me a couple of things, and it was like, there was in one lesson there was so much ground to cover. We knew it was going to be one lesson, so it was. Yeah. So he kind of worked this out and said, "Okay, let's not play," and we just talked about the music. And your attitude to the music, and he taught me loads of things in that sort of second part of the lesson, in just a conversation that I still use now, like things like Like when you're playing, use your whole body. It's not just your arms and your fingers, like your right arm and holding the bow, and your left hand doing the fucking million miles an hour, 100 million notes as fast as you can. It's like use your whole body, and we were sitting down, which is a standard thing. But he said, when you're practicing, get up, stand up, and move around, and tap your foot, and dance as you play. Feel the music through your whole body. And use everything from your feet planted on the floor right to your fingertips. That's pretty much the most important thing I ever learned about playing the violin is use your whole body and feel it, feel the rhythm and the swing of it, like in your body, not just in your brain and your fingertips. So use your whole body to play the violin, and the difference is unbelievable. Like, you should hear him play. He's just a remarkable fiddle player. Like, and when you watch him play, he makes it look effortless. Like, that the sound is just unbelievable, and it's hard to put into words, almost impossible to put into words. But if I could show you, if I could play you a tune and then go, right, Nick, you play the tune, you'd be like, all right, I see what you mean, yeah. Colman, why did you ever start learning the violin again?
But I heard you playing as well, and you're very good. So.
I'm all right, getting there. The other most important thing he said to me was, I mentioned Pat Walker I used to play with. I think he's just committed. Like he's so passionate about his playing, and he was really good, really young. He's I don't know if his brain's wired differently but is it what some people call a natural musician? I'm not sure if I fully subscribe to that as an idea, but there's something about his playing, and he was really good when he was like 12 years old, and he's amazing when you hear him playing. He's just mind-blowingly good. And Nick said to me, he said, you get your Patrick Walkers in the world, and they're just great when they're 12 years old. For the rest of us, he says, it takes about 20 years roughly for you to get, to a point where you're a good a good fiddle player, a good traditional fiddle player. He says, it won't just come, like, you can't do it in a year or 2 years. And I was about a year or two into playing when I had this lesson with him. So he was like, so you're on the right track, and it's going to be rubbish for a good while yet, but if you love it and you're determined, in 20 years' time, you'll be a good fiddle player, like. And I heard him say it, and I did listen. I didn't realise how much it had sunk in and had an effect on me, but like he saw that, he could see that I wasn't going to give up. Yeah. He could see how much I loved it and how much I would just wanted to do it right and make it sound beautiful. So he knew then, I didn't even know at the time, but he knew I would still be trying to be better 20 years, 25 years later. And he was right, because we're now at that point now. And that's the best thing, pretty much the singularly best thing I ever learned is just keep going, because violin's a really fucking hard instrument to play.